I'm too old for you, human, but my daughter awaits you, the alien queen whispered. Captain Elias Varn had traveled across many star systems, but nothing had prepared him for the world that spread out before him now. The planet, called Aurora Prime by the few who had heard its name, shimmered with a strange, unearthly glow. Its skies were painted in soft hues of pink and turquoise, and the clouds drifted lazily, reflecting the light of three suns. From orbit, the surface looked peaceful, almost too beautiful to be real. Elias adjusted his visor and checked the readings on his wrist console. Oxygen levels, temperature, and atmospheric composition were all within human tolerance, but the sensors picked up something unusual. Faint energy signatures scattered across the planet, radiating in complex patterns. They weren't natural. Someone, or something, was there. He touched down in a small clearing surrounded by towering crystalline trees. Their trunks refracted sunlight into hundreds of tiny rainbows that danced on the ground. Elias stepped out of his ship, boots crunching on the soft, pinkish soil. The air was fragrant, almost sweet, with hints of flowers he didn't recognize. For a moment he allowed himself to breathe deeply, enjoying the alien serenity. But Elias was no ordinary traveler. He had been trained to recognize danger, and danger, he suspected, often hid behind beauty. His eyes scanned the horizon. At first, there was nothing but crystalline forests and glimmering lakes. Then he saw it, a palace, or what looked like a palace floating above the largest lake. Its towers spiraled into the sky like delicate threads of glass. The palace glowed with an inner light, pulsating gently as if it were alive. Curiosity overcame caution. Elias started walking toward the palace, feeling both excitement and unease. As he approached, he noticed the ground beneath his feet seemed to hum faintly, as though responding to his presence. The closer he got, the stronger the hum became. It wasn't dangerous, at least not yet, but it was undeniably alive. When Elias reached the palace's edge, a doorway materialized in the air, shimmering like a mirage. He hesitated for only a second before stepping through. The instant he crossed the threshold, the world changed. He was no longer in the forest clearing. The palace's interior was enormous and breathtaking. The walls shimmered with flowing patterns of color, and a soft, melodious hum filled the air. The floor seemed to float beneath his feet, adjusting to his steps. Elias' gaze was drawn to a figure at the far end of the hall. She was tall, taller than any human, with elegant, elongated limbs. Her skin shimmered faintly, like moonlight on water, and her eyes glowed softly, golden and intense. Every movement she made seemed deliberate, graceful, as if she were a part of the palace itself. "Welcome, human," a voice said. It was melodic but carried weight, authority, and wisdom. Elias realized it came from the figure herself. "I am Queen Leora," she continued, stepping closer. "You have traveled far to reach my world." Elias straightened his back. "I am Captain Elias Varn, explorer of the human space fleet. I come in peace, seeking knowledge and contact with intelligent life." The queen studied him with a gaze that seemed to penetrate through his body, as if reading his very thoughts. Elias swallowed but held his ground. He was trained to maintain composure in unpredictable situations, but even he felt the weight of her attention. "You are brave, human, to step into my domain alone," Queen Leora said, her voice a whisper now, soft but commanding. "Most who come here are not so bold, but bravery is not the only thing I measure." Elias raised an eyebrow. "And what is it that you measure, your majesty?" Leora's lips curved into a faint smile. "I measure spirit, ingenuity, and the qualities that make a species truly remarkable. Humans are intriguing to me." The words sent a shiver down Elias' spine. Intriguing. It was not fear, not admiration, not respect, but something that sounded almost like curiosity. And curiosity, he knew, was the first step toward danger. Then she leaned slightly closer and whispered words that made his heart skip a beat. "I am too old for you, human, but my daughter awaits you." The statement was unexpected, and Elias blinked in surprise. "Your daughter?" he asked, his voice steady despite the sudden tension in the air. "Yes," Leora said, straightening. "Kayla is the future of my people and she will be the one to meet you. But first, you must prove yourself worthy." Elias felt a mix of emotions: excitement, confusion, and a flicker of fear. This was not a diplomatic mission. This was something else entirely. Whatever awaited him with Kayla would not be easy. He had a feeling he was about to face tests unlike any he had encountered before. Queen Leora gestured and a small platform rose from the floor. "Step forward, human. The trials will begin soon. They are not meant to harm you, at least, not unnecessarily, but they will challenge you." Elias took a deep breath and stepped onto the platform. The air around him shimmered, and the hum beneath his feet intensified. Within moments, he was transported to a vast cavern, glowing with phosphorescent light. The walls were lined with crystals that refracted the glow in dizzying patterns. A faint mist rose from the ground, swirling around his legs like playful spirits. "This is your first trial," Queen Leora's voice echoed in the chamber. "You must retrieve the core crystal at the heart of this cavern. It will not be simple. The path is guarded by natural forces and creatures who will test your courage." Elias' mind raced. He had faced hostile planets and treacherous environments before, but the energy in this place felt different. It seemed aware of him. As he stepped forward, the crystals pulsed in response to his presence, casting long shadows across the cavern. Suddenly, a creature emerged from the mist. It was unlike anything he had seen, a quadrupedal being, translucent, with luminous veins coursing through its body. Its eyes glowed faintly, observing him with intelligence. It did not attack, but its stance was defensive, ready to block his path. Elias thought quickly. He could not fight it, and he did not want to. He remembered Queen Leora's words. The trials measured spirit, ingenuity, and qualities of humans. Perhaps there was another way. He spoke softly, using a calm tone he often used with nervous crew members. "I mean no harm," he said. Slowly, he extended a hand toward the creature. It tilted its head, then shifted to the side, allowing him to pass. Elias smiled. Human empathy, an instinctive ability to understand and respect other life forms, had cleared the first obstacle. As he continued deeper into the cavern, he encountered more challenges. Sudden drops, shifting crystal bridges, and patches of luminescent plants that reacted violently to movement. With each step, he relied not on brute force, but on observation, reasoning, and instinct. When he stumbled near a glowing chasm, he remembered an old training method from the fleet. Use your environment, not against it. He carefully used a fallen crystal as a lever to create a bridge and crossed safely. Hours seemed to pass, though he had no way of measuring time. Finally, in the deepest chamber of the cavern, he saw it. The core crystal, floating above a pedestal, glowing with inner fire. Its light was blinding, almost alive, and Elias could feel its energy resonating through his body. As he approached, the floor shifted suddenly. Another creature, larger than the first, emerged. Its body was crystalline, jagged, and intimidating. Elias felt a flash of fear, but he took a steadying breath. He could not rely on force. He observed the creature's movements, noting its rhythm and patterns. With patience, he moved carefully, matching its pace until he reached the pedestal. Elias lifted the core crystal. Immediately, the chamber brightened, and the creature stepped aside, as though acknowledging his success. A voice, soft yet powerful, filled the cavern. "You have passed the first trial, human. Your courage, patience, and respect for life have proven you worthy to continue." A portal appeared before him, shimmering with the same light as the palace. Stepping through, Elias found himself back in the palace hall. Queen Leora stood before him, her expression unreadable. "You have begun well, human," she said. "But this is only the beginning. Kayla awaits, and she will challenge you in ways that will test not only your mind and body but your very spirit. Are you prepared?" Elias straightened his back. "I am ready," he said, determination in his voice. Leora's eyes softened slightly. "Good, then rest for now. The next trial will come soon. And remember, the future of our worlds may depend on your success." As Elias was escorted to a chamber for rest, he couldn't shake a thought that had begun to form. Humans were not just explorers, soldiers, or scientists. They were capable of something greater. Something that could bridge worlds, connect species, and change the course of history. And perhaps that was exactly what Kayla and Queen Leora were seeking in him. The palace hummed gently as he drifted into sleep, its light wrapping around him like a protective cocoon. Outside, the three suns of Aurora Prime began to set, painting the sky with colors humans had no words for. And somewhere in the glowing palace, Kayla's eyes watched, curious and expectant, awaiting the human who had captured the attention of her mother and perhaps her heart. Elias woke to soft golden light filtering through the palace chamber. The walls glowed faintly, shifting in colors that seemed almost alive, reflecting the rhythm of his breathing. He had slept well, but the memory of the cavern, the core crystal, the luminous creatures, lingered vividly in his mind. He realized that this was only the beginning. Whatever lay ahead would test him in ways he could not yet imagine. As he stretched and prepared for the day, the door of the chamber opened silently. Queen Leora entered, her tall figure moving gracefully, like a shadow of light. Elias stood, bowing slightly in respect. "Good morning, human," she said. Her voice was calm but carried authority. "You have rested, and now it is time for the next phase of your trials. You will meet my daughter, Princess Kayla, and face challenges that will test more than your courage. Your mind, your heart, and your spirit will all be judged." Elias nodded. "I am ready, Your Majesty." Leora gestured toward a corridor that seemed to stretch into infinity, bathed in shifting colors. "Follow me. Kayla awaits you." The corridor led them to a large chamber, circular and open to the sky above. The ceiling shimmered like liquid crystal, reflecting the suns outside. At the center of the chamber, standing on a platform of floating light, was Kayla. She was younger than Leora, though still taller than most humans. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her eyes glowed a soft green, curious and calculating. She tilted her head as Elias approached. "You are the human who captured my mother's attention," Kayla said, her voice light but firm. "I have heard of your courage in the trials of the cavern, but courage alone is not enough. Here, you must show creativity, empathy, and intelligence. Only then will you prove that humanity is worthy of understanding." Elias took a deep breath. "I will do my best, Princess Kayla." She smiled faintly, then gestured, and the chamber shifted. The walls dissolved, replaced by a vast landscape of jagged cliffs, deep rivers, and forests glowing with bioluminescent plants. It was a testing ground, carefully designed to challenge every aspect of his being. "The first trial," Kayla said, "is a test of ingenuity. You must reach the summit of light, visible on the horizon. There are no paths marked, and the terrain will resist your progress. You may use only what you can find." Elias looked at the jagged cliffs and rushing rivers. At first glance, it seemed impossible. But he reminded himself of the words of his fleet instructor: "The mind can solve what force cannot." He began moving carefully, observing his surroundings. He noticed vines that were not ordinary. They glowed faintly and reacted to touch. By gently guiding them, he created makeshift bridges over narrow gaps. He used fallen branches and crystals to form levers, pulleys, and supports. With each obstacle, he relied on observation and logic rather than brute strength. Meanwhile, Kayla watched silently from above, her green eyes sharp and attentive. She noted the small details: how he paused before each action, how he considered multiple solutions, and how he adapted when the environment changed. Hours passed, though Elias had no sense of time. He climbed, leaped, and waded through streams. At one point, a sudden rockslide blocked his path. He froze for a moment, heart pounding, then spotted a cluster of crystalline stalagmites nearby. Using them as anchors, he created a pivoting platform and swung himself over the debris. Kayla's lips curved into a faint smile. Human ingenuity, impressive. After reaching the summit, Elias found a crystal pedestal glowing softly. He placed his hand upon it and a projection appeared, showing the path he had taken. The projection split into multiple colored lines, each representing a choice, a solution, or a mistake. Kayla's voice echoed softly. "You see, human, your mind is different from ours. You adapt, you create, you find paths where none exist. That is why your species is remarkable." Elias felt a surge of pride, but there was no time to dwell. Kayla waved her hand and the landscape shifted again. This time the terrain became a vast labyrinth of glowing walls, shimmering with energy. "The second trial is empathy," Kayla said. "Within this labyrinth are creatures in need. You must help them, or they will be lost forever. Their lives are connected to the success of your journey." Elias entered cautiously. At first, the creatures were small, fragile beings, luminous and hesitant. Some were trapped in energy nets, others lost in dead-end corridors. Elias carefully freed them, speaking softly as he guided them. One creature, nearly invisible except for its soft glow, clung to his shoulder, trusting him completely. But the labyrinth was not passive. Walls shifted constantly, forcing him to make quick decisions. At one point, two creatures were on opposite paths, heading toward danger. Elias hesitated, then acted, using a reflective crystal to redirect a beam of energy that blocked one path while safely guiding both creatures to a safe corridor. Kayla's voice echoed again, this time with warmth. "Your compassion allows you to see what others cannot. You are more than strong or clever. You have the human gift of empathy. That gift will serve you well." The labyrinth dissolved, leaving Elias standing in a quiet forest under a twin sunset. Kayla descended, her feet barely touching the ground. "The final trial is courage of spirit," she said. "You will face a challenge that will test not only your physical abilities but your moral judgment. It is a choice you must make alone." Elias nodded. "I understand." Kayla gestured and a vision appeared before him. It was a holographic simulation, yet it felt real. He saw a village under attack by a massive, shadowy creature. The villagers were desperate, fleeing in terror. But beside him was a bridge made of fragile energy. Crossing it would take him directly into the path of the creature, and there was no other way. He hesitated. If he crossed, he risked harm. If he did not, the villagers would be destroyed. He clenched his fists and took a steadying breath. "This is what humans do," he thought. "We do not turn away when others are in need." With determination, Elias stepped onto the energy bridge. It swayed and hummed, threatening to collapse beneath him, but he moved steadily, focusing on the goal. As he neared the creature, he remembered the lessons of the cavern: observation and adaptation. He noticed its movements had a rhythm. Using quick reflexes, he dodged, guided, and finally reached the villagers, leading them to safety. The simulation faded. Elias fell to his knees, breathing heavily, heart pounding. He had succeeded, but the trial had drained him. Kayla approached quietly, extending a hand to help him rise. "You have done well, human," she said softly. "Not all would have had the courage, empathy, and ingenuity to succeed. You are different, special. Your spirit is strong, and it shines in ways few others can match." Elias looked at her, feeling both pride and humility. "Thank you, Princess Kayla. I didn't know I could do these things until I tried." Kayla smiled, a hint of admiration in her eyes. "That is the human way. You discover strength in the act of striving. It is why your species has survived, and why you may have a future here among my people." They walked back toward the palace, side by side, the twin suns casting long shadows on the glowing landscape. Elias felt a connection forming, not just with Kayla, but with a species he had never imagined. They were strong, wise, and curious, but humans had something else, a combination of courage, empathy, and ingenuity that even the most advanced alien minds could not fully predict. When they entered the palace hall, Queen Leora was waiting. Her eyes held a mixture of pride and contemplation. "You have passed the trials," she said. "Not by strength alone, not by intelligence alone, but by the combination of qualities that make humanity remarkable. Kayla will guide you further now. There is more to learn, more to understand. The journey is only beginning and the challenges ahead will grow in complexity." Elias bowed slightly. "I am ready for whatever comes next, Your Majesty." Leora's gaze softened. "Good. Remember this, your success is not just your own. The lessons you learn, the connections you make, they will ripple across worlds. You may shape the future in ways you do not yet understand." Kayla looked at him and spoke in a tone that was both challenging and warm. "The next phase will test your mind and heart together. Only through understanding, trust, and courage will you continue. Are you prepared, human?" Elias nodded. "I am ready, Princess Kayla." A faint smile appeared on her lips. "Then let us begin." The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the palace in shades of gold and violet. Elias felt a strange sense of belonging. Though he was far from home, among alien skies and unknown species, he realized that human spirit could shine anywhere. And perhaps, in doing so, it could illuminate a path not just for himself, but for the galaxy. As night fell over Aurora Prime, the palace glowed softly, alive with energy, and Elias' journey into the heart of an alien civilization had truly begun. Elias awoke to a soft, ambient glow filling the chamber. The air was warm, fragrant, and comforting, yet he felt a nervous energy bubbling inside him. Today was different. Today, he would truly meet Princess Kayla outside of the trials, face new challenges, and perhaps discover why Queen Leora had sent him here. He stepped out of his quarters into a corridor that seemed to stretch endlessly, its walls shimmering like liquid crystal. Light floated in the air, moving as though alive, guiding his steps forward. At the corridor's end, a platform hovered, suspended above a tranquil lake whose waters glowed with a soft silver light. Kayla stood there, waiting. She turned at the sound of his footsteps. Her hair shimmered like flowing silver, her eyes glowing emerald in the soft light. She was beautiful, yes, but there was a strength in her gaze, an intelligence and curiosity that made Elias feel both challenged and inspired. "You made it," Kayla said, her voice calm yet probing. "Few humans would endure what you have already faced." "I am curious, do you truly understand why you were brought here?" Elias hesitated. "I believe to prove my qualities, to show courage, ingenuity, and empathy, and perhaps to learn from your people." Kayla smiled faintly. "That is part of it, but there is more. My people face a challenge unlike any we have seen, one that may affect our survival and the survival of others in this sector. You, humans, have abilities we do not fully understand. Your way of thinking, your unpredictability may be what saves us all." Elias' heart raced. The stakes had grown beyond personal trials. The safety of an entire civilization rested on him, or at least on his collaboration with Kayla. He felt a mix of fear, excitement, and determination. Kayla gestured toward the lake, and suddenly the waters began to shift, forming a glowing pathway. "Walk with me," she said. As Elias followed, he realized the path was not solid. Every step required balance, observation, and trust. "This is not just a test of strength," Kayla said, "but of observation and intuition. Humans often see patterns we cannot. That is why you were chosen." Elias moved cautiously, noticing subtle shifts in the glowing water beneath him. With each step he adjusted, finding balance and rhythm. He realized this was a continuation of the trials, yet different. Kayla was not testing him with obstacles or creatures but through awareness and precision. When they reached the other side, Kayla stopped. "You are steady," she said, "but now comes the true test, understanding, not just surviving." Before them appeared a holographic projection of the palace's surrounding world. It shifted, showing energy flows, star systems, and alien settlements. Then it changed, revealing an enormous shadow moving across space, consuming energy and leaving destruction in its wake. "This is the threat," Kayla explained. "It is not like us, not like you. It moves through the stars, devouring planets and civilizations. We have tried to understand it, to stop it, but our methods are not enough. That is where you come in." Elias stared at the projection, trying to comprehend the scale of what he saw. The creature, or phenomenon, was enormous, beyond anything humanity had faced. Yet he noticed something others had not: subtle inconsistencies in its movement, patterns that hinted at predictability. "I think I might see a way to counter it," Elias said slowly. Kayla's eyes widened slightly. "It is unlike your battles, human. This is strategy, foresight, and creativity. Do you truly believe humans can help?" Elias nodded. "Not because we are stronger, but because we are adaptable. We see possibilities that others overlook. That is our advantage." Kayla studied him, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Perhaps you are right, but understanding is only the first step. You must experience the world of my people, learn our technology, and adapt your thinking. Then perhaps we can work together." For the next hours, Kayla guided Elias through the palace. She showed him chambers filled with energy matrices, libraries of holographic knowledge, and devices capable of manipulating matter and energy. Elias absorbed everything he could, asking questions, taking careful notes in his mind. Kayla answered patiently, but always with a hint of challenge. "You think like a human," she said at one point. "It is unpredictable, sometimes reckless, sometimes brilliant. It is why your species is fascinating, but brilliance alone will not save the worlds. You must learn to combine it with understanding." Elias smiled faintly. "Then teach me, Princess Kayla, I want to understand." She led him to a balcony overlooking a forest that glowed softly under Aurora Prime's twin suns. "This forest has life forms unlike any you have seen. Some communicate with energy, some with light. You must learn to perceive them, to anticipate their reactions. Only then will you understand how to cooperate with my people in the battles to come." Elias stepped carefully among the glowing plants. Some reacted to his presence, shifting colors and emitting sounds. He remembered the lessons from the cavern and the previous trial: observe, adapt, respect. Slowly he realized a pattern, a rhythm in the way the forest responded. Kayla watched him, silently approving as he moved among the plants, interpreting their signals and reacting appropriately. She had expected humans to survive the trials, but she had not expected him to understand the living energy of her world so quickly. "You are learning," Kayla said, finally breaking the silence. "Not all can do this. Humans, you are remarkable." Elias felt a warmth at her words. He had faced many challenges, many unknowns, but this felt different. This was recognition, trust, and connection. For the first time in a long while, he felt he truly belonged somewhere, not just as an explorer, but as a participant in something larger than himself. Their lesson continued as Kayla led him to a chamber where holographic simulations of energy flows were displayed. She explained how her people harnessed energy from stars, and how this energy could be used for defense or construction. Elias listened carefully, asking questions, offering ideas based on human principles of engineering, strategy, and adaptation. Kayla tilted her head, impressed. "You see possibilities that we do not. Humans have creativity that surpasses logic alone. That is why we may survive this threat if we can combine our strengths." Elias nodded. "Then we must begin training together, learning from each other." "I will do everything I can to help." Kayla smiled, a rare softness in her expression. "And I will guide you. But remember, human, this is only the beginning. The trials of spirit, mind, and courage are far from over. The universe is vast, and the danger we face is real." For the next days, Elias trained alongside Kayla, learning the ways of her people while teaching them about human strategies. He showed them how to improvise, how to adapt quickly to changing situations, and how empathy could guide decisions as much as logic. Kayla, in turn, taught him to harness energy, to perceive patterns, and to anticipate the movements of creatures and machines alike. During one exercise, Kayla placed him in a simulated attack scenario. A series of holographic creatures moved unpredictably, attacking settlements. Elias analyzed their patterns, predicting their movements with a combination of instinct and logic. He guided Kayla's forces, combining their advanced technology with his own improvisation. They succeeded in neutralizing the threat efficiently, earning mutual respect. "You are learning faster than I expected," Kayla said, her eyes glowing. "Perhaps humans have been underestimated." Elias smiled. "Perhaps, but only if we continue to work together. Strength alone is never enough. Understanding and cooperation, that is what wins battles and saves worlds." Kayla regarded him silently, then nodded. "You speak with the wisdom of someone who has lived far longer than your years, human. And yet, I sense your spirit is untouched by arrogance. That is rare. That too is why my mother chose to bring you here." Elias felt a mix of pride and humility. He was far from home, surrounded by an alien civilization, yet he felt a strange sense of purpose. He had survived trials, earned trust, and now faced the challenge of uniting two worlds against a threat that could destroy them all. That night, Elias sat on the balcony, looking at the glowing forests and the twin suns slowly sinking beneath the horizon. Kayla joined him silently, standing beside him without words. The air was filled with quiet energy, the gentle hum of the palace, and the promise of what was to come. "You are not just a human, Elias," Kayla said softly after a long pause. "You are a bridge. Between my people and yours, between survival and destruction, between hope and fear." Elias nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "I will not fail. I promise, Princess Kayla, I will do everything I can." Kayla's eyes softened. "I believe you. And together, perhaps we can face what is coming." As night settled over Aurora Prime, Elias realized that his journey had changed him. He was no longer just an explorer. He was a part of something greater, a partnership that might determine the fate of worlds. And somewhere deep inside, he felt a spark of excitement, knowing that humans, through courage, ingenuity, and empathy, could shine even in the most alien corners of the universe. The palace hummed gently, alive with energy, and Elias knew that the real trials were only just beginning. Elias had spent days learning from Kayla and her people. Every hour brought new lessons: how to harness energy from stars, how to perceive life through patterns and light, and how to work in complete harmony with an alien civilization whose technology and thinking far surpassed anything he had known. Yet in every lesson he noticed one thing: human adaptability was unmatched. While the aliens relied on strict rules and precise calculations, Elias could improvise, adapt, and find solutions others had overlooked. It was a skill born of survival, experience, and the human mind's unpredictable brilliance. And soon, that unpredictability would become the key to survival. Kayla approached him as he studied a holographic map of the nearby sector. "Elias, the threat is approaching faster than we anticipated," she said, her voice serious. "The creature, or whatever it is, feeds on energy, and it has already destroyed 2 colonies in this quadrant. If it reaches Aurora Prime, it could consume everything we have built." Elias nodded, examining the map. He traced the creature's path through the stars and noticed subtle fluctuations in its movement. "It's powerful," he said, "but not unstoppable. Its pattern it repeats in cycles. It adapts slowly. If we can predict its next move, we can trap it." Kayla's eyes widened. "You see what we do not. Perhaps your species truly has a gift, but this is only part of the solution. We will need strategy, cooperation, and courage to act." Elias studied the holograms, then spoke rapidly, outlining a plan. "We can lure it toward a region rich in energy crystals. Its movement is predictable enough that we can use the crystals to trap it. Once contained, we can redirect its energy harmlessly into the planet's core, neutralizing the threat without destroying it. Kayla considered him, then nodded. It is risky, but it might work, and only a human mind could have conceived it. The two worked tirelessly, coordinating the alien defenses with Elia's human-inspired strategies. Kayla provided precise energy calculations, while Elias suggested unconventional maneuvers, using holographic decoys, manipulating energy flows in ways her people had never tried, and predicting the creature's behavior based on instinct rather than strict logic. Finally, the creature appeared on the sensors, a massive, shadowy entity stretching across space like a living storm. Its body was an ever-shifting mass of energy, consuming all in its path. Elias felt a twinge of fear, but he quickly replaced it with determination. This was what humans did. They faced impossible odds and found ways to survive. The battle began. The alien ships moved in formation, guided by Kayla and her commanders. Elias directed them using patterns he had observed in the creature's movement, instructing smaller ships to act unpredictably, to confuse and lure it. The creature's enormous tendrils of energy lashed out, destroying ships and destabilizing energy fields, but Elias' tactics kept them one step ahead. At one point, a massive energy spike threatened to collapse the crystal trap. Kayla hesitated, unsure how to respond. Elias acted quickly, instructing teams to redirect smaller energy currents to stabilize the crystals, even improvising a sequence that her people had never considered. The plan worked. The crystals pulsed with light, forming a barrier that contained part of the creature's mass. Kayla's eyes shone with admiration. "Human, your mind is extraordinary. You think differently than we do." Elias shook his head slightly. "I'm just observing, adapting. That's what humans do. It's not brilliance, it's instinct." Hours passed in a tense battle, with the creature straining against the energy barrier. Elias noticed a weak point, an area where the creature's energy cycles slowed briefly. He directed Kayla to adjust the crystal's frequencies, forming a resonance that amplified the containment field. The creature roared, a soundless vibration that shook the ships, but slowly it began to stabilize, trapped within the shimmering barrier. Its destructive energy was redirected into the planet's core, absorbed harmlessly and even enhancing Aurora Prime's energy reserves. When the battle ended, the skies over Aurora Prime were calm once more. Ships returned to the palace docks, and creatures from the forests peeked curiously at the disturbance, sensing the return of balance. Elias stood beside Kayla on a balcony overlooking the glowing landscape. "We did it," Kayla said, her voice filled with relief. "I did not think it possible, but your mind, your unpredictability, it saved us." Elias smiled faintly, tired but proud. "It wasn't just me. Your people's technology, your coordination, without it, none of this would have worked. We worked together." Kayla's expression softened. "Yes, together. You see, humans are different, Elias. You adapt, improvise, and take risks. Your species' strength is not in sheer power or technology, but in your spirit. That spirit can save worlds when logic alone fails." Elias looked at the glowing horizon, feeling the weight of the experience. He had faced the impossible and survived, not through strength alone, but through observation, creativity, and courage. He realized that humans, though often underestimated, could rise to challenges no one else could. Queen Leora appeared beside them, her presence calm but commanding. "You have done more than survive the trials, Elias. You have demonstrated what we have long suspected. Humans are capable of greatness beyond prediction. Your actions today may be remembered for generations." Elias bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did what seemed necessary." Leora's eyes softened. "Necessary, yes. But your methods, unconventional, unpredictable, inspired by instinct, show what makes your species unique." Kayla has learned from you, and in turn, your people will benefit from our knowledge. This cooperation may shape the future of many worlds." Kayla placed a hand on Elia's shoulder. "You have not only saved my people, Elias, but also proven the worth of humanity. Your courage, intelligence, and empathy, they shine even among the stars." Elias felt a rare warmth. It was more than gratitude. It was recognition, respect, and trust. For the first time, he truly understood the meaning of being part of something larger than himself, a force that could unite species, face the impossible, and survive through ingenuity and courage. The next days were filled with celebration and reflection. The alien people honored Elias and Kayla, recognizing their efforts in the defense of Aurora Prime. But for Elias, the most profound reward was understanding the value of collaboration, the merging of human spirit with alien knowledge. He saw how humanity's creativity could complement advanced technology and structured logic in ways that no single species could achieve alone. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Elias and Kayla stood on the palace balcony once more. The planet's forests glowed beneath them, a soft pulse of life and energy. "You have changed the way my people see humans," Kayla said softly. "Perhaps we underestimated you before. Your spirit, your unpredictability, your courage, it has earned our respect and trust." Elias looked at her, humbled. "I only acted as humans do, facing what comes, adapting, and never giving up. If that inspires others, then I am glad." Kayla smiled. "It inspires more than you realize. Your species may yet play a greater role in the galaxy than anyone has imagined, and I hope we continue to work together." The palace hummed gently around them, alive with energy, a reflection of both alien intelligence and human ingenuity. Elias knew that the journey was far from over. Challenges would come, dangers unseen would emerge, and the responsibility of bridging worlds would remain. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of quiet pride. Humans, though small in comparison to the vast galaxy, had proven their value. Courage, empathy, creativity, and adaptability were tools that no technology could replace. And when combined with knowledge from others, those tools could save worlds. Kayla turned to him, her eyes reflecting the last rays of the twin suns. "Tomorrow, we begin the next phase. There are still threats, mysteries, and knowledge to uncover. But today, we celebrate what we have achieved together." Elias nodded, a smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "Then tomorrow begins with hope, strength, and human spirit." As the suns disappeared and Aurora Prime's night sky shimmered with stars, Elias understood one thing clearly. Humans were not just explorers or fighters. They were survivors, innovators, and bridges between worlds. And in this vast, alien universe, that spirit could shine brighter than any star. The morning light of Aurora Prime shimmered over the palace, painting the floating towers with hues of gold and rose. The planet had recovered from the shadowy threat that had once loomed over it, and life was stirring again. Elias stood on the balcony, looking over the glowing forests and crystalline lakes, reflecting on the journey he had undertaken. What had begun as a personal trial had become a journey of unity, trust, and hope. Kayla approached silently, her footsteps barely disturbing the gentle hum of the palace. "You are thinking," she said, her voice soft but knowing, "about everything that has happened." Elias nodded. "Yes, about how far we've come, how humans and your people managed to survive what seemed impossible. It's remarkable." Kayla's eyes glimmered with pride. "It is remarkable, but not just because of our people or yours. It is remarkable because of what we accomplished together. Humans, you have a way of seeing things we cannot. You take risks we would never consider, and yet in those risks you find solutions." Elias smiled faintly. "I only did what humans have always done: adapt, help, and persevere. We don't know what the future holds, so we keep moving forward." Kayla's expression softened. "And that is why your mother in mind, the Queen, brought you here." Not for politics, not for alliances, but because she saw potential in your kind. Potential to survive, to grow, to inspire. Elias reflected on her words. He had faced trials of courage, empathy, and ingenuity. He had confronted the unimaginable, guided alien technology, and fought alongside Kayla to protect an entire planet. Yet, he realized, these experiences had changed him as much as they had changed the aliens' perception of humans. The day began with a council meeting in the palace hall. Representatives from the alien cities, scholars, and engineers gathered around a luminous table that seemed to float in midair. At the center, Queen Leora presided, her presence commanding attention and respect. Kayla stood beside Elias, presenting him to the council not as an outsider but as a partner. "You have seen him in action," Kayla began, her voice steady and clear. "Captain Elias Varn of the human fleet is not here to conquer, nor to demand. He is here to demonstrate the qualities of his species: courage, creativity, empathy, and adaptability. These qualities were critical in our survival and in protecting Aurora Prime. His insights have helped us see new possibilities, ways we had not imagined." A murmur spread across the council. Aliens of various shapes and sizes, their skins shimmering with light, regarded Elias with curiosity and cautious admiration. Queen Leora's eyes met his, and he bowed slightly. "It is an honor to serve," he said simply. "Humans have always survived by working together, learning from each other, and adapting to challenges. Today, that spirit has merged with yours." The council debated for hours, discussing the future of the planet, interstellar trade, and joint research. Elias contributed ideas grounded in human ingenuity, ways to improve communication between species, new methods to harness energy, and strategies to protect the planet from future threats. Kayla supported him at every turn, their partnership evident to all. As the discussions ended, Queen Leora rose. "Elias has proven something vital. Humanity's value is not measured by strength or technology, but by spirit. Courage, empathy, and adaptability are tools that cannot be replicated. Humans can be our partners, our allies, and our inspiration. Let this day mark a new beginning." Applause filled the hall, a mixture of sound and resonant energy. Elias felt a warmth in his chest. This was more than recognition. It was acceptance, trust, and hope. He had not only survived trials but had become a bridge between worlds. After the council, Kayla guided Elias to a private balcony overlooking the crystalline lakes. "You have done more than I imagined," she said. "Not just saving lives, but showing my people the true value of humans. They now see what we have always sensed, that your species is extraordinary." Elias glanced at the glowing waters below. "I only acted as humans do, seeing a problem, finding a solution, and helping where I could. It seems simple, but I am glad it mattered." Kayla smiled. "It mattered more than you know, and there is something else. The bond between our species is now stronger. Knowledge, technology, and understanding are no longer limited by species. You have opened a path for humans to learn, to grow, and to contribute. That is a rare gift." Elias felt a deep sense of fulfillment. From the trials of the cavern to the battle against the shadowy entity, every challenge had tested him, but also revealed the strengths of humanity: adaptability, empathy, courage, and creativity. In doing so, he had not only earned respect, but also friendship, trust, and a place among the stars he had once only explored. Days passed, and life on Aurora Prime began to normalize. Citizens returned to their routines, creatures of the forests and lakes resumed their rhythms, and the palace hummed with quiet energy. Elias continued to work with Kayla, studying alien technologies, exploring new methods of energy management, and preparing strategies for interstellar cooperation. One evening, as the twin suns set in golden harmony, Elias and Kayla walked along the floating pathways of the palace gardens. The flowers glowed softly, responding to their presence with subtle pulses of light. Elias paused, looking at the horizon where the stars began to appear. "Do you ever wonder," he asked, "how humans and your people will work together in the future? Beyond survival, beyond challenges." Kayla regarded him thoughtfully. "I do. And I believe we can achieve something extraordinary. You have proven that humans do not merely adapt, they innovate, they inspire. That combination with our knowledge can shape the course of galaxies." Elias nodded. "Then our journey is just beginning. We've survived, yes, but the universe is vast. There will always be more to learn, more to protect, more to explore." Kayla smiled, her eyes reflecting the emerging stars. "And I will be by your side, Elias. Together we can guide our people, learn from each other, and face whatever comes next." The two stood silently, watching as the first stars appeared over Aurora Prime. The twin suns had set, but a new light was rising, a light of unity, hope, and cooperation. In that moment, Elias realized that the true power of humanity was not just in survival or ingenuity, but in the ability to connect, adapt, and inspire across worlds. Later, in the grand hall of the palace, Queen Leora summoned Elias and Kayla. "You have exceeded my expectations," she said, her voice calm but filled with authority. "Not only have you defended this planet, but you have also built a bridge for the future. Humans will now be welcomed, not as outsiders, but as partners, and this partnership will endure." Elias bowed respectfully. "It is an honor, Your Majesty. We will do everything we can to ensure this bond remains strong." The Queen's eyes softened, and she placed a hand on his shoulder. "I see in you the qualities that make your species extraordinary. Let this be remembered, Elias. Courage, empathy, and ingenuity are more powerful than any weapon. You have proven it." Kayla stood beside him, a quiet pride in her expression. "And let it be known that humans are not just explorers or warriors," she added. "They are creators, problem solvers, and friends. They are capable of greatness that shines even among the stars." Elias felt a warmth in his chest. He had journeyed far, faced unimaginable trials, and now stood recognized not just by one alien civilization, but by an entire world. He had proven the strength of humanity, not through force, but through spirit, courage, and understanding. As night fell over Aurora Prime, the palace shimmered with energy, alive with light, knowledge, and life. Elias and Kayla walked through the halls, their partnership stronger than ever. Together they had saved a planet, formed a bond between species, and demonstrated that humans, though young in the vast universe, could shine brighter than many stars. Elias looked at Kayla, her eyes reflecting the endless possibilities of the cosmos. "This is only the beginning, isn't it?" he asked. Kayla nodded. "Yes, there will be new challenges, new discoveries, and new adventures, but now we face them together. And with humans by our side, I believe there is nothing we cannot achieve." Elias felt a surge of hope. The universe was vast, unpredictable, and full of dangers, but also full of opportunities. And as long as humans carried courage, ingenuity, and empathy, there would always be a way forward, a way to survive, to inspire, and to shine. The twin suns had set, but in their place, a new light rose, the light of unity, friendship, and the human spirit. Aurora Prime thrived, a testament to courage, ingenuity, and collaboration. And somewhere among the stars, humans had found a new home, not in territory or conquest, but in trust, respect, and hope. Elias took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the planet beneath him. He had come as an explorer, tested by trials and faced unimaginable danger. But he would leave knowing that humanity had proven its worth, not through dominance, but through spirit, intelligence, and heart. And that, he knew, was the greatest victory of all. As he looked at Kayla, standing beside him, Elias understood the truth of her earlier words. The future was not just about survival, it was about partnership, understanding, and the enduring power of human potential. Together they would face the universe, and together they would shine. The palace hummed softly around them, a living symbol of unity and hope. And as Aurora Prime's night sky sparkled with stars, Elias felt a profound certainty. Humanity had not just survived, it had triumphed, inspired, and begun a legacy among the stars.